Now, as in previous video, you have seen the methods on create, on start, and a couple of other methods, how they are called and when they are called. Now let's start discussing these methods in totality, so that we really understand what these methods are all about. You know what all different functionalities these methods can provide us. Now you know what the timing of these methods is. Now discuss what can happen in these methods. What all can happen, right? So now you know that the onCreate method is used to instantiate the activity with relevant data that is required. Let's go to our Android docs and see what all onCreate can do. So onCreate method is basically must implement this callback, which fires when the system first creates the activity, and you can bind the data to lists associated with the activity with a view model. What this means is that, let's say you plan to show a list to your users, and in that list you want to put some data, right? So you can do that data, you can bind that data to that list, but of course you have to first call the set content view method within the onCreate method before you put the data. Another thing that you will keep seeing now is bundle object. Bundle is a class in Android, which is basically a class that allows you to save stuff in the pairs, right? So you have this bundle class, a constructor bundle. You can create objects of bundle, and then you can have the data put inside these bundles, and you can transfer this data wherever you require to, right? There are a couple of methods and which are available in this. For example, there's this method that is called as get bundle. It returns the value associated with the given key. So key value pair is being used in this bundle class, and you can assume, or you can understand bundle in such a way that there is this class which lets you save data in key value pairs, right? You give a key, and then you also provide a value to that key, and whenever you want to get the value of that key, you just need to use the bundles you just need to use the bundles key, and you will get the value of that key, right? The key value pair, I'm sure you must have understood or learned in while using Java, so we will not be discussing it at length here. Another method, there is this method which is called as on saved instance state, which is used in this in tandem with the onCreate method. Now let's discuss this example, wherein we will discuss what all onCreate can do. Here is a game app example, which is having a game state string, and this game state string which will provide the developer the information as to where the game state, or at which state the game is when the user is playing it. So in the starting, you call onCreate method, and then you call the super onCreate, because this is the norm. You have to call the onCreate of the super class as well, and provide the same bundle to it. So like I said, bundle is a class, and you have an object named as saved instance state. So when the app launches, this game app launches, the OS is going to provide a bundle to this onCreate method, right? This is the first time the app is launching, so the OS takes the responsibility of providing a bundle, and in the name of the bundle object is saved instance state, right? Now what happens is, the first time when the app is launching, it will check if it is not equal to null, which it will be. The first time the app launches, it should be null, because there is no data that has been stored earlier. So the app will provide Android OS will provide a null bundle to the onCreate method. So we need not go through this method right now, and because it is null, so this will not get executed, and you will simply have a set content view method called, which will just display the layout to the user, and you will initialize the text view so that you can use it later, right? Now what happens is, let's say the user is receiving a phone call, and the OS has to quit the activity. In such a case, you will have the on save instance state called by the OS. Now this is a method which is a callback method that is called by OS, and in this method what happens is you have all the values that are associated with that game are being being saved here. As you can see, we are using a method called putString, and this putString method is providing the values which are game state and text view get text. Whatever is being displayed in text view right now is being saved in text view key. There are two keys here. So before the user, or as the user leaves the app and attends the phone call, at that point in time onSavedInstance method gets called, and the bundle gets all the values saved in itself, right? And you also need to call the supers onSavedInstance, right? Now what happens is, next time when the Oncreate method gets called, this time you will have a save instance state, right? Taking a reference from this diagram that we discussed earlier, as you can see, let's say the user receives a phone call and onStop method is called, and the activity is no longer visible, so onStop method gets called, and after that if the user again goes back to the app and they start using the app again, they start playing the app again, then the Oncreate method will again be called, right? So what happens in that case is, this time the Oncreate method, when it will check for saved instance state, it will not be null, because last time you had the OS had called onSavedInstance state and it had saved some data in the bundle, right? So this time the bundle is not going to be null, and that's why game state will now be equal to saved instance state dot get string. So game state is now getting a reference of this saved instance state, and all the state that was saved earlier is now available with game state, right? And that is why the user will be able to see the game at the same stage where they left the game, right? There's another callback method which is called only when there is a saved instance state that is previously saved by the user on saved instance. We restore some state in Oncreate, while we can optionally restore other states here. If you want, you can restore other states here, and in some cases you might not want to restore all the states within Oncreate only, so you have another option which you can call, which gets called just after the on saved instance state method, right? The saved instance state bundle is same as the one used in the Oncreate, so the same bundle is being used. So you, like for example, in this case we gave the game state, we found out the game state in the Oncreate method, sorry, in the saved instance state checking, and after that we called this method got called, and in this method we set the text as what was previously showing up in the text view, right? I want you to understand that these two text view key and game state key are the same keys that were used to save the two values when the onSavedInstance method was called. All right. There's another way to handle the set content view. You might you might not want to use the set content view in a typical way wherein you provide an XML file. You can also use the view class, and view class has view group is another class. Basically just having an XML and then using the set content view is one way to show the user what the UI looks like. There's another way, which is view class. You can have a view class and view group, and then you basically in any case you're going to use the XMLs here as well, but there's another way which some developers prefer, wherein they use the view class to create objects, and then they put the specific views inside these view objects, and then eventually they call set content view. Nothing much to discuss here, but I wanted to just mention this thing, that you might have certain cases, certain developers using these wherein they use the view and view groups. After onCreate, there's onStart. Let's talk about onStart and onResume in our next videos.